Does it feel like all your friends are flying the nest, leaving you alone in your hometown? Whether they're moving into a flat in a big city or even settling down and somehow buying a property of their own. Then there's you, still living with your parents, stuck in your childhood bedroom that you repainted from baby pink to extremely different dusty peak to make it feel more mature, but it's still the same room. And there's only so many ways you can rearrange the furniture to make it feel fresh, especially now that you've attached a TV to the wall. As much as you love living with your parents, it would be great to move out and stretch your wings. So, why haven't I moved out? And why am I still living with my parents? Hi, I'm Pia, I'm 25, and I'm having a quarter life crisis. Join me and my friends as we discuss our existential dread to try to solve our quarter aged questions. This episode, why am I still living at home? It feels that living with your parents as an adult is some kind of failure, like you're a loser. Even when trying to think of an adult fictional character to make a comparison to, I couldn't really think of any examples. Like it's so incomprehensible for an adult to be living at home. Even some really imaginative authors, such as She Who Must Not Be Named, couldn't even conceive it. With the best person I could think of being Norman Bates, who wasn't technically even living with his mum because she wasn't living. But in 2024, it's recorded that almost a fifth of 25 to 34-year-olds still lived with their parents, an increase from 13% in 2006. With the housing bubble and Cosy Lives crisis, this is probably only going to increase. Like many young adults, staying at home allows me to try and save up for a property. However, when looking at moving into my ideal area, literally anywhere on the TfL network, I met with crumbling flats, fields, and parking spaces, none of which meet my very high living standards of actually being inhabitable, which it turns out is really, really expensive. If I were to move into London, it would cost around £1,000 a month to move into an understairs closet shared with two complete strangers. There is, of course, one option in finding a partner with a secure job, an undying love for me, and a huge house deposit. But all of that is a topic for another episode. This one is about how I can't afford to leave my childhood home, not how terminally single I am. Now, it's time to hear from someone who is ready to leave her own childhood home. After somewhat successfully moving away for 3 years while at university, she has finally saved up enough to buy a house of her own. Well, a house with her boyfriend. Something they have made achievable by making the smart decision to not settle around any major UK cities. It is my university housemate of 2 years, Sarah.
Hello. Yeah,
Woo!
yeah,
Hi,
yeah.
hi. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It was only a matter of time.
So, I think we need to crack right into it. How was living with me at university?
You know what? It was actually really good. You are a better housemate than my parents and my sisters, for one. When we moved in together, I don't know. I did not think you would be the best housemate to live with. I think Alex and I actually had this conversation a couple times, maybe. Who the hell would have thought that Pia would be like the chillest and the best housemate? But yeah, and obviously our second year of living together, well, it was
Trauma bond.
yeah. Maybe it's just us. Maybe we attract bad people.
I don't know. I think also for context though, we started living together in 2019. So obviously a few months into that, the pandemic hit. So
Yeah.
it was it was kind of a strange one because we then were thrown into this lockdown. We're like, oh, bye. See you when? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I guess at least both of us had our placement sorted, so we knew we were coming back together,
Mm.
which was nice. So even if we were the only people we knew coming back, we'd still be able to live with someone, being the new kids on the block all over again.
When moving to university, did you have any apprehensions of moving out? Was it your first time away from home?
Well, I mean, like, I'd been on holiday. Technically, no, but like living, yes. I don't know. I think I was like excited. It was funny because I suppose I didn't know this at the time because my twin went to uni after I did. But I was the one that lived furthest away from uni. Yeah, I think my parents thought that I would live like closest. But no, I think I was happy to be away. I do remember the first day I got to uni. I was like, "Bye, mum and dad. Bye. Really excited. You, haha, having a good time." I literally like closed the door to my uni room and was like, "Bye." And then I was like, "Oh, okay." And just cried for like 3 minutes. But also then I was like, "Okay, I got to lock in." My parents had bought me a pizza and they were like, "Right, go downstairs, cook the pizza. I know you're not going to eat it all. Cook the pizza and just offer it to people." So I was like, "Right, I've got a mission. Put a couple things away. Take my my 2-liter bottle of Dr Pepper and my family-sized pizza downstairs, and let's make friends."
I think also living in halls at university is so different even living from a shared house because everyone's in exactly the same situation as you and you're sort of like thrown in and immediately expected to be friends. And I know for me, I don't know about you, that my house, we didn't get on like necessarily the best just because like it was nothing against them and it was nothing with me. We just like personality wise didn't really gel. And one of them who's ended up being like one of my best mates, but at the same time, you're sort of thrown in, you're like best mates for a week, and then you're like, actually, we're not really like compatible people. And everyone always sort of thinks you're going to live together in second year. And we were in the same sort of situation when it came to living together in second year, which is why we ended up living together because we were like, we didn't want this huge house. We both lived in big houses in first year and didn't want to live with the people again. So we sort of were going through different people. And then it got to sort of February time and it felt like it was too late. It was like, oh my God, everyone's got their house. We need to find people now, now, now. And really, it wasn't that deep. Defo could have found a house later.
I mean, I always remember there was a couple that lived in my, like, halls, and there was 2 girls that I got on quite well with, and I think we kind of well, maybe naively assumed that the 3 of us, not with this couple, would, like, live together, and then, like, we were having, like, a craft night in my room or something, and the girl was like, "Oh, yeah, we sorted out our, yeah, we're living with the couple next year." And this was in, like, early November. They'd, like, just pounced on them and were like, "Oh, let's sort out living together, blah, blah, blah." And it was one of those things where I think they just, like you say, been like, "Oh my God, like, we're best friends, we're gonna, like, basically love bomb each other," and just jumped into it. But then as soon as second year came around, I think one of them moved out before they'd even properly, like, signed the lease, moved in second year, and the other lived there for maybe like 2 months and then moved out. I think she moved home or something. It was just like, well, yeah, and this is what happens. So I think retrospectively, I'm quite glad that we waited and figured out who we actually gelled with. And I think not living with each other before was also probably a good thing because we weren't like in that super close, super like on top of each other, mega bestie, immediately friendship vibes where it's inevitably just gonna drop. Like, I don't really talk to many of the people that I lived with in first year anymore, and I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. I mean, you've got nothing in common with most of them. They're not even doing the same course as you.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think because I sort of came in a little bit differently to you at university because I just lived abroad for 10 weeks. So I'd had that time away, which I think it meant that when I came into it, I didn't have the necessary sadness that you get when it's like, oh, bye, parents, for the first time. Because I was like, oh, I'm back for 3 days. See you again. I'm off to uni. Bye bye. And I think I've always been quite independent in that way that I will just take myself off and do things, which is why I think I do struggle living with home a bit because I love my family and I love my parents and I do really love being at home. But at the same time, I'm very much, I need my own space and I want to have that independence and sort of feel like an adult because there's something about living in your childhood home where you're, especially after you've been to university, where you've had that freedom sort of being like, oh my gosh, I'm cooking for myself. I'm looking after myself. It's all on me. Look at me. I feel like a grown up, even though you definitely are not at 18. You just then you sort of throw back and you're like, "Oh, I'm in my childhood room. Oh, I'm in my childhood bed." And then your parents are looking after you again. You can sort of slip back into the habits that you have as a child. And I very much try not to, but it is quite easy to sort of have that comfort.
I think a big thing for me that's I don't know, I feel better about living at home is because none of my siblings are here. I think if my sisters were here, I would have been renting ages ago. Like, I just would not physically have been able to live here. Like, honestly, kudos to you for sticking it out.
I just literally cannot afford to move it because this is the thing where you sort of live a little bit farther out. Where I live at the moment, so convenient for work with regards to commuting because I'm just outside London. It is expensive to commute, but then unless I'm living in an absolute dive, it's still cheaper to commute than it is to, especially in London, it's insane the rent prices there. And you're like, this is just about livable and they're charging an absolute premium, and I'm not on that kind of money.
No, it's just insane. I don't know. I do think about like, oh, what would I be doing if I was renting somewhere, or where would I be, or would I be like in London with friends and whatever. But I don't know. I think I don't want to stay around this area forever, but I think for now it's all I can do. I know it's so sad now that like people our age, their like dream is like, oh, I'd love to one day maybe potentially own property if I could perchance, if I could have a treat.
At work, people are always like, "So what is your aspirations? What are your dreams?" I'm like, "To afford a house." Like, obviously that means I have to work my way up the career ladder and things in order to have the salary to afford a house. But at the same time, I'm quite happy, not exactly on the job I am in at the moment because it's hard work and I want a little bit more creative control over things. But at the same time, I'm like, if I could afford to move out, because that's the other thing when you're renting as well, it's not your property.
It feels so like static and like, ooh, and what am I doing?
And the idea of sort of moving in with strangers as well, because that's the other thing. I think I would have moved to London if I'd had sort of people to move in with. Whereas a lot of my friends, like yourself, have settled closer to their hometowns. So people that I know, like I know I can live with you. We've done it twice. We get on well. We're very compatible in our living styles. But I don't want to then live with a bunch of strangers because I hate mess. I hate things being dirty.
Well, it's also like, how do you, I don't know, the social aspect of that. If you're not all in the same stage of life, like I don't know, it's just tricky. I mean, our friend who we went to uni with, she lives in Cambridge. She's just moved there and she lives in a house share with a bunch of boys, some of whom are adults, some of whom are young professionals, some of whom are, you know, like second years at Cambridge or ARU uni.
I'm also dying at you say adults and then young professionals and listing a bunch of adults afterwards. You're like, well, they're the grown-ups because they've got proper jobs because I'm still a kid, right?
I mean, I was there the other day. Like, I met a couple of them when I was in the kitchen. There's also no dining room. Like, it is a dive, like you say. And one of them is literally like a full-grown adult. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's just my like lack of social skills or something. But I'm also like, I don't want that.
I would like to get on with the people that I live with. I went round a mate's house and he was saying that he doesn't, I think he lived in a house of six or maybe with six other people, and they didn't talk to each other and they're all older. So he's sort of mid 30s and he doesn't talk to his housemates and things. I'm like, I couldn't imagine sort of getting to that age, but he can't afford it any other way. It's like, this is what I can afford is the rent in a shared house. And the idea in my mid 30s, it's like, well, don't I want like a partner? Do I want kids? Is this big question, isn't it?
How are you figuring that out when you've got like that going on at home? Like, I'm also like really aware that it sounds like I feel like talking from a place of privilege in a lot of senses of like, well, we don't have to do that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we definitely do come from a very lucky place that our parents can support us and can help us as well. And we are lucky that we can stay at home because I know some people have to help out with rent a lot more than we do in order to help out with their parents. Yeah, I think it is something on the cards. And I think another issue with the moving out is because we're both majority of work freelancers, there is the apprehension of moving out and then not having the work. I think that's another reason it kind of sticks me at home a little bit in that my contracts are normally relatively short and I'm moving contract to contract. And thus far, I've been fortunate enough to be in work, but it's kind of when the work stops, what next? How would I afford my rent?
What happens if there's a lull?
Which is where living at home in a place that I can commute into London despite how expensive it is and pay sort of family rent, so a much more reduced rate of rent than if I were to be renting by myself.
My parents retired, I think maybe 4 years ago now, 3 or 4 years ago, and they bought a camper van. So they are away like all the time. So being at home for me is not too bad. Basically, the first month I came back from uni, like officially, we changed my bedroom. Like I moved from like the little box room to my older sister's old room because she had finally officially bought a house. So like I'm not in my childhood room, which is a nice change, and my parents aren't here all the time. So it does feel like a bit of a middle ground, which is quite nice. But again, I'm still in the middle of nowhere. Like my nearest train station's a 25-minute drive. The nearest connected bus station is also 25-minute drive. Swings and roundabouts to it. I would not want to be in your situation living with family all the time, but also I envy that you're like near stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing about my location is convenience wise. I'm very fortunate in that I do live near a train station. So commuting to work at the moment, the office that I'm in takes an hour pretty much just over door to door. And there's places in London, most places in London, it would be the same. It'd just be cheaper to travel, but there's no need for me to move out other than my own wants.
Yeah, but I think that's enough, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's why it's sort of on the next year plans. Because also I've been putting it on hold because I'm like, when I go traveling and traveling's not happening now, that sort of putting it into motion, I'm going to start booking things for traveling, get Australia out the way, and then because I don't want to move into a place and then not be there for 2 months, and it's like, well, what's the point of paying rent for it? So sort of get the traveling out the way and then come back and look at renting somewhere because I don't have the cheap property price of where you live or a significant other.
I was gonna say, yeah, if it wasn't for Henry's stable salary, I would not be buying a house.
So, talking about the house you're buying, congratulations. This is big news. So, you're looking at moving in early next year?
Yeah, yeah. So the people we have bought from, they are waiting for a new build to get built, which won't be finished until like January, February. But we've got a clause in the contract that if it's not finished by, or if we're not completed, sorry, by the end of January, the price of the house goes down. And if we're not completed by the end of February, it goes down again. And we've not thought past then, because if it's not complete by the end of February, then I'm just going to be really, really annoyed.
How did you find the process of finding a house, the viewing of the house? Because obviously that's very different from renting.
So we actually started looking early last year, just like to kind of feel out what we wanted and what we didn't want, and kind of more location wise. So it was nice just to have a start. So we met with a mortgage broker early last year as well, kind of just to get a feel of where we were at and what we could afford. But we properly started looking basically in January, and we were literally looking until we found this house in July. So yeah, it was literally like basically every week we were doing a house viewing or something. I think we were going around again still with location and stuff, but there was another house that we offered on that we like. But when I went back a second, I really liked it the first time, but when we went back a second time, my boyfriend was really convinced and I was swayed away. We did view a couple that was like smoker houses. You just walk in and you meet like, no, like I'm not doing this. This is silly. There was one house we viewed, a terrace house that was being rented. It was worse than any of the ones we saw at uni.
With housing, buying it, are you the sort of first one of your friends to buy? Because I know you've said that you've got friends that have moved out and things, but are you sort of leading the way on that? Did you feel any external pressure towards moving out slash buying a house, or is it just something that you feel that you're ready for and you made that decision?
Maybe a bit of pressure like moving out, but not like from external people, more like a bit of FOMO, I guess. Because also like my boyfriend lives 20-minute drive away, so that's a pain in the ass anyway, going back and forth. It's just so much nicer to just be in one place together. Everyone else I know is mostly renting and stuff, so from the buying perspective, not so much. I just think I was like, I don't want to rent, especially not around here. It's just not worth it. Like if I'm leaving home, I want to buy. Like that's the only option, I suppose. I think there are a couple people I know that have bought, like that I know from like sixth form and stuff, that I'm still friends with ish, that have bought property.
On the social media?
Well, yeah, but that's like it, I guess.
As a sort of like friends, because I think this is something else that's kind of linking in with the sort of topic of the podcast with external pressure. And I think so much of it, sort of where this quarter life crisis element has developed, is a lot through social media,
Yeah.
in that you're seeing so many people that are of similar ages to you that you're not necessarily not friends with, like acquaintances, but I think you're in a much more active part of their life on social media. So you're seeing people buying houses that you went to school with or you did this with at some point. You're like, oh, they're the same age as me. They've bought a house. They're in this relationship. And it's a bit different when it's like yourself, where you're actually my friend and I'm happy for you. But I think, obviously, I'm happy for you, but it's like certain people are like, oh, why are you buying a house? Why am I not buying a house? And it feels.
What, me?
No, I just said I'm happy for you. I was saying other people on social media that you're seeing.
I mean, some people I do think that I'm like, why are you getting a house? You should not be in a relationship, let alone having a house.
Yeah, no, 100%. And you're seeing these people with their key photos, and it just seems crazy.
Me planning my key key photo in my head, being like, I don't want to be like the other girls when I make a key photo, you know what I mean?
Got to put it on the social medias. But everything feels like it has to be announced. You don't need to share absolutely everything. What are you excited for with moving out and having your own freedom?
I'm excited to decorate. I'm excited to have my own sofa. I'm excited to have a house that doesn't have clutter in it. And also, I want to grow vegetables in my garden. I want to grow chilies and tomatoes and green beans and have a little strawberry plant. I'm excited to have garden parties. I'm excited to have parties, dinner parties. I can't wait. I always do a birthday party at my house, and I'm still going to do it. Still going to do it. So buzzed.
Your house is going to be so nice. I already know that your house is going to be so nicely decorated as well.
Have I shown you the pictures?
You've shown me the pictures, but I mean, I know that the way you decorate it's going to be so nice. I can already tell. It's going to be like artsy, but at the same time in the taste way.
It will be like a collector with like a mid-century inspo. There's just not, I don't know. I think, yeah, what I'm really excited about is like just having the freedom. When I came back from uni, I came into this room instead of my old room. And like my parents let me paint the walls pink and they let me do like a fun mural. And I was like, but they're still my landlords. I still have to run everything by them. And it's like, I don't know. I think sounds silly, but like even just decorating one room as an adult with freedom is giving me the bug to be like, okay, yeah, I want a whole house that feels like, I don't know, somewhere good. You know what? I'm also excited for Halloween, like to do like trick-or-treating and stuff. Not me trick-or-treating. I am too old for that. I know. But like to have a little bowl of sweets and like, I just have a skeleton onesie that I just wear for Halloween. It's great. Yeah. So there's lots of things to look forward to. Tell you what, that's what I'm actually dreading about moving. I have so much stuff.
Yeah. But then again, you're going from one room in your house to a whole house.
I don't want, and my boyfriend especially doesn't want it to be immediately full of just stuff. Because I won't lie, I have inherited the keep stuff gene, and I'm just looking around just on my bookshelf that is like stacked very like haphazardly with books because they don't all fit on there, and also has a ton of like trinkets. I know we throw the word trinkets around a lot now, but I be having trinkets.
So obviously you've got some apprehensions with regards to like moving in. Is there any other apprehensions you find? Because you've not lived with your boyfriend before, have you? Do you think you've got any apprehensions there with regards to living in a space with someone you've not lived with before?
I think so a bit, but I mean, during COVID, because me and my sisters were all living at home and we were all on top of each other, and it was literally crazy. I lived with Henry for like 6 weeks at his house, but even there, like the dynamic is so different because he's with his family and his mum's there, and she's still, you know, the one that's the head of the house and is like taking care of everyone. So like a bit, but I think I don't know. I think it will be fine. Henry is probably like tidier than I am, and he always does washing up. When he comes to my house and the dishwasher's full and I'm not here, he'll empty the dishwasher for me,
You're
which is
really
great.
selling him to me. Like, I want to move into this house because that's one of my things. One of my biggest fears is sort of moving into a house with someone that I've not lived with before, or if it was sort of a house share where I don't know the people. I hate living in mess. If it's neat mess, I'm okay with it. But dirt, I hate things that aren't clean. Like, and I'm not saying I've got like some ridiculously high standard because I don't, but when things are dirty, it just genuinely makes like, I saw so many university houses that were just gross. I'm like, I get it's not your house and I get you're only here for a year, but you are living here. Why do you want to live in filth?
How does it get that bad?
I don't. This is one of my biggest things about sharing a bath.
Well, I just remember you and me, like in third year, just having a like every like 6 weeks, a periodic like meltdown, being like, we have to clean. What's going on? It's terrible.
I don't think anything's changed. I still do that.
Oh, really? I mean, I do periodically whenever Jandy go away, I will clean the kitchen, clean the lounge, clean all the communal space because I'm just like, this is like right, yeah, like you say, my skin starts to crawl. But I don't think I'm apprehensive. I think Henry maybe has a similar vibe to you, cleanliness wise and whatever.
Are you saying we're the same person? Is that why you gravitate towards me?
Maybe. And if not, if Henry doesn't work out, I know I can divorce him. Not that we're married, like, you know, spiritually divorce him, and I can go to you. So
Yeah, well, I'm not going anywhere. So thank you so much for coming on my podcast. It's been really great chatting to you about moving away from home, sort of living in your own space, and hearing about your experience of finally flying the nest and maybe giving me the motivation to actually do it myself. Thank you for hearing me moan about my quarter life crisis.
Yeah, no, thanks. It's been really good to chat. I feel like I don't have these conversations with friends. I think part of me feels like, oh no, I don't want them to feel FOMO and make them feel bad about it. So the only person I've really spoken to about moving is my boyfriend who I'm moving in with. So no, it is nice to speak to friends about it.
Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Bye. 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 Bye.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I think moving on from your childhood home is a big step. It really does feel like the biggest step towards adulthood, towards finally having your own independence. Unfortunately, that big leap is hindered by the huge financial responsibilities renting or buying a house entails. Talking to Sarah has made me miss living out of home like we did at university. I feel like it's definitely on my plans for the nearish future to find a place to rent literally anywhere on the TFL network. I can then start feeling more like a proper adult in my own space that actually has to fully look after themselves. But for now, I will continue to live with my parents and save for that unaffordable house. Thank you for listening to this episode of Quarter Life Crisis. Why am I still living at home? Make sure to like and subscribe wherever you are listening to the podcast. Tune in next week for Why Am I Going to Australia?